Hi, friends. This is Karen from Case of Adventure, and this is the Countries for Kids podcast. Each week, we're going to travel to a different country and explore an exciting landmark together. Libby is your tour guide. She visits so many places with her family and wants to take you along. How would you like to visit the Matterhorn in Switzerland, the Eiffel Tower in Paris, the Sydney Opera House in Australia, or the Empire State Building in New York City? Our website is caseofadventure.com. We sell exciting country studies for homeschoolers. Each one contains a travel mystery novel to read and a fabulous adventure book filled with tons of activities to work through. On our website, you can find France Adventure. The novel is called Felons and Foie Gras in France. You'll join the Gray family as they investigate a theft at a famous art museum. They get to explore Paris, visit fancy restaurants, eat French cuisine, and solve a mystery, culminating in a showdown up the Eiffel Tower at night. It's their most exciting and dangerous adventure yet. Don't forget to download your fun activity page to go with each episode. You'll find that on caseofadventure.com/activities. Let's get started. I hope you have fun. Sit back and enjoy listening as we take you on an adventure. Today we're visiting Plitvice Lakes in Croatia. We got out of the car and I couldn't believe how green everything was. The air at Plitvice Lakes felt different. It smelled like rain and trees and something sparkly, like adventure. The paths were made of wooden planks that creaked a little under my sneakers, and below them the water was so clear I could see every pebble. It wasn't just blue, it was turquoise and emerald, and sometimes even silver when the sun hit it right. Everywhere I looked, waterfalls were tumbling down like ribbons. Some were tiny, trickling between mossy rocks, and others were huge, roaring and spraying mist that made my hair damp. I tried to count them all, but after a while I lost track because there were just too many. Mom said that there are 16 lakes that flow into each other like steps. But to me it felt like 100 magical pools connected by streams. I stepped onto the wooden boardwalk, and I could actually see the water rushing under my feet, bright and full of bubbles. Don't lean too far over, Mom said, but I was peering over the edge of the wooden boardwalk. I quickly stepped back. A little further down, the path bent past a waterfall that was so big it made the air shake all around it. I walked closer until I could feel the mist splashing against my cheeks. I was so excited to discover a cave hiding behind a waterfall. There was a secret doorway, and I could hear the rushing water roaring in my ears. It was so loud I had to shout to my mom and dad to say, "Let's go in." Inside it was cool and dark. The walls were shiny and wet, and tiny drops of water fell from the ceiling. Dad had a little flashlight on his keychain, and he turned it on. We looked around and saw funny shapes in the rocks. One even looked like a sleeping dragon. Our voices echoed every time we laughed, so it sounded like there were a bunch of invisible explorers laughing with us. When Dad turned off his light, it was so dark that I couldn't even see my own hands. We peeked out the front of the cave, and the waterfall looked like a curtain of diamonds in the sunlight. I had discovered a hidden world, and I felt like a brave explorer. We took a wooden boat across one of the big lakes, and as we went, I dangled my fingers over the edge, trying to touch the little fish that darted away like shiny arrows. Dad kept taking pictures, but I didn't want to look through a screen. I wanted to remember everything just the way it looked. The big sky and the beautiful green trees with the glassy blue water. The trees were so tall that I had to tip my head back just to see the tops. Some of them leaned over the water, their leaves shimmering in the sunlight. Every now and then a butterfly would float past. Made me want to chase them, but I didn't want to leave the magic of the lakes. After hours of walking and climbing and saying wow at every turn, we stopped at a little restaurant near the park entrance. It had wooden benches and a roof covered in flowers, red and pink ones that spilled out of pots. Inside, it smelled like grilled meat and fresh bread. We ordered some delicious cevapi, which is meat that's hand-shaped and made almost like a sausage without a skin, and warm flatbread, and some strukli, stuffed dough, almost like dumplings with interesting fillings. Mine was gooey and cheesy and delicious. I also got a big glass of cold apple juice. When we were finished with lunch, we drove a little way to a small town nearby called Rastoke. It looked like a fairy tale village with old wooden watermills and bridges crossing over the waterfalls. They ran right through people's gardens. That night we stayed in a small guest house at the edge of the park. My room had slanted wooden ceilings and smelled like pine. I could hear the crickets singing through the window and the water trickling somewhere out in the dark. When I woke up the next morning, sunlight was spilling through the curtains and the smell of fresh bread being baked floated up from downstairs. We were served a delicious breakfast. And then we walked down to a morning market in the nearby town of Slunj. The villagers were setting up their stalls. There was so much colour, and tables covered with honey jars, baskets of apples and plums, and bunches of wild flowers tied with string. A woman with a red scarf handed me a piece of cheese to taste. It was soft and salty. She told me it came from her own goats who lived further up the hillside. Dad bought a jar of wildflower honey, and the man who sold it said the bees feed near the lakes. Mom bought me a tiny wooden keychain shaped like a waterfall from an old man who'd carved it himself. He said he'd been making souvenirs like that for 50 years and that the lakes looked just the same as when he was a boy. Mom also bought some cherries and we sat by the river eating them, spitting the pits into the grass. The water glistened in the morning sun. I knew that the area was beautiful because of the people too, as well as the amazing lakes. I hope you enjoyed Libby's little story. Here are some fun facts about the Plitvice Lakes in Croatia. Plitvice Lakes has 16 beautiful lakes that are all connected by waterfalls and streams, almost like nature's staircase made of water. The water changes color. Sometimes the lakes look blue or green or turquoise, depending on the sunlight and the minerals in the water. The lakes are very, very old and have been forming for thousands of years. The water carves through rocks and makes natural barriers. Animals love it there. You can find bears, wolves, deer, foxes, fish, frogs, and many different kinds of birds living in the park. You can almost walk on the water. There are wooden paths and bridges that let you walk right above the lakes and waterfalls. They are called boardwalks. It's very famous. Plitvice Lakes is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which means it's very special and the whole world has agreed that it should be protected forever. Many people say Plitvice Lakes looks like something from a fantasy movie or a storybook with its misty waterfalls, bright lakes, and thick green forests. No swimming's allowed, even though the lakes look so inviting. That helps to keep the water clean and clear for the animals and plants that live there. There are over 90 waterfalls in the park, and they flow all year long. In winter, some of them turn into sparkling ice falls. Hidden around the lakes are mysterious caves you can explore. Some even go behind waterfalls. Thanks for listening. I hope you get to visit Croatia someday. It's really beautiful. Don't forget to download your activity page at caseofadventure.com/activities. I'll see you next time.